This video is going to be about changing this telescopic handlebar post that I've been having a bunch of issues with. It seems like the mechanism in here slips on these cut grooves in that hexagonal or sexagonal shaft. I don't know, 6 sides I think it has on it, to a fixed post kit that you get from Articat. The part number is 6639-419. So you get the fixed post like the newer updated snowmobiles have, a new post, shaft, everything, the bolt, and then some bolts, bolt pad, and a couple of clamps. But I actually opted to upgrade to the Articat adjustable riser that allows still some adjustment for the handlebars up and down, kind of like the original one did that came on this High Country. So I'm going to tear this apart and show you how it's done. Well, obviously the first step is to take off the hood, side panels. I took off the exhaust and the Y pipe because I had some leaking between the exhaust gaskets on the Y pipe. So you don't have to go that in depth, but I was just doing a maintenance on it, so I figured I'd tear it down that far and fix any issues that I had at the time. So basically what we need to take off is this bracket, this steering linkage here, this cotter pin, this bolt needs to come out, and then this whole assembly will lift off. You also need to take off the dash, or part of the dash where the heated seat is, the tether and the heated goggles, and the cord. So I'll do that next. To remove the dash, you have to remove the seat to get underneath to access the bolts that hold on this plastic piece. Once you have the seat bolt pulled out, you should be able to pull the seat off. And then if you have a heated seat, you'll have to undo this plug from the bottom of the heated seat. Now you'll be able to get at all these Torx bolts that hold on the plastic dash and pull your gas cap. Next thing you're going to want to do is take the pull handle knot out, but do not let the rope go back into the recoil, and unplug your tether, heated visor, and your heated seat if you have any of those. I just pull the cord through and then tie a knot to that cross brace underneath the steering post. This is where a good spot to be. And then the rest of this should be able to come free now after you unclip it from the body or the bracketry underneath. And you should have a plug under there. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Oh, and the backup beeper, I forgot about that. Get that here quick. Now your plastic dash should be free to lay down out of the way. And now you can get to the rest of the bolts on this fiberglass bracket with the steering post brace. Now, as you can see, all the bolts are removed. There's one here on each tower post, all the way around. So there's 4. And then these 2 up here on the steering transfer shaft, I guess I would call it. I don't know what they technically call it, but another group of bolts here. And I'm going to pull off the handlebars and lay them to the side. And then we should be able to disconnect the linkage underneath and that pin with the cotter pin and the post bolt, the bottom post nut. The handlebars removed, we can now proceed to taking off the rest of the steering shaft, the linkage, and that last bolt nut with the cotter pin, and this whole assembly should just lift out and replace with the fixed steering post version. Now with everything removed, as you can see, the linkage is free from that pivot arm. The whole assembly should lift out of there, free from the machine. The only thing you'll need to take off is that steering transfer shaft mount, which will remove those and put them onto the new fixed steering post. And this one is quite a bit heavier than this fixed steering post. I'd say it's about a pound or two heavier. I mean, look at the size comparison. It's quite larger. So the weight savings is a help. Not a huge deal, but every little bit helps, I guess. Also, when removing the bolts from the side, make note that there is a nut on the back side of these aluminum spar tubes that's inside a recess, and they will fall out. And I did find out because they fell down underneath the motor, and I had to fish them out. So it was not fun. So remove them when you get a chance before they fall, or put a rag down underneath there so it can catch anything that falls. Now we should be able to reinstall the new steering post into the snowmobile. The instructions, you're going to want to put the steering post bearing in now, which goes right there. It's actually a split piece of plastic. It goes around the shaft and rides in there, so the steering post has something smooth to ride against. And then a circlip goes around that groove on the underside, like that. So I'll put that on there now, and then we'll install this into the snowmobile. Now we got the vertical steering post mounted with all the bolts. I use a little bit of red Loctite on all the bolts. I found that the old bolts are actually a little bit longer than the new ones, because the new ones didn't seem to have the length. I don't know if it's just the kit or what, but I'll get the rest of the linkages hooked together and get the dash back on, basically in reverse order. So I had to do a little bit of modification for this adjustable aluminum riser that Articat sells. There was a couple of tabs that kind of protruded up above the part where the riser clamps onto, and it was impeding with that shaft and spring that slide on there. So I just took a grinder and cut it off, and then painted the exposed metal. So I'll get that bolted up. I just thought if anybody was gonna buy this adjustable riser, just to know that modifications may need to be done to yours if it has those little tabs that you saw in the previous video, that they'll need to be cut off. And make sure the gas cap is on when you're cutting or anything, so you don't get any sparks and cause a fire. So I'll get everything bolted up here, and we'll see how it functions. We'll have to put the dash on first, but I just want to dry fit this, make sure it works before we put the plastic on. So I was able to successfully get this mounted so it slides up and down. Kind of gotta have the handlebars on there to help move this up and down, but it's 4 positions, so you got at least, I think it's 4 inches of difference. So you go from a 4-inch riser to an 8-inch riser, almost like the telescopic version that was pulled off of this sled. So I'll have to pull this back off, put all the other stuff on is the next step. All right, we got the plastic console, dash, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what you technically would call it, back on. The pull cord rope threaded through, which is kind of a pain trying to get it back behind up in there. You just gotta be patient, thread it through that hole, and then tie your knot, get all your screws in. There's 4 per side. And then connect all your connections for your accessories if you have them. And now we can mount the handlebars and put the seat back on. So we'll do that next. We just got about wrapped up here. Handlebars are back on. Everything is going back together smoothly. I did have to adjust the steering with the skis a little bit, make sure it was straight. Just gotta get the seat back on and button everything up. But yeah, that's how you swap it over from a telescopic handlebar post to a fixed, well, not so much fixed anymore, but they call this the fixed steering post versus the older telescopic one. If you have any questions, just give me a comment below. Thanks. Forgot to mention one other thing. While you get the seat off, I like to hit the underside of the plastics where it doesn't reach with some of this SC1. It basically, it's kind of like a silicone sealant protectant, but it makes the plastics look and feel like new, I feel. And gets in the cracks and crevices a little bit. You just kind of spray it on, and you can either leave it sprayed on or wipe it off, depending how much finish you want, but pretty much cleans it up. It's almost like a showroom finish when you're done. Plus it repels a lot of the snow and water. So I just hit it with a rag, just kind of wipe off some of the excess so it doesn't look too overly fake or armoralled per se look, and just gives it a nice finish. Cleans up the plastics quite a bit, and like I said, it repels water like crazy. It's basically a silicone sealant or silicone spray. So just figured that'd be another tip to throw out there. I like this stuff. Works very well. It's about 10, 12 bucks a can, but it goes quite a long ways. So thanks for watching.